Well, you're watching the Quigley 7 here for 7Bet. 7 days of racing ahead of us. Lots of action to look forward to. And of course, you could do that by making the most of your betting experience with the 7Bet Welcome Sports Betting offer. Just check out that QR code. That will take you through and lead you to where you need to go to make the most of that. And of course, please do gamble responsibly. Now, I mentioned 7 days. Well, we have got all sorts of action, haven't we? Cheltenham's November meeting will be the highlight from Friday through till Sunday. But we're going to kick off with Tuesday. We're going to build up to the big one. And I'm looking at Hereford as my main port of call. I thought Imac would. One for the Deborah Cole team. And that goes into 245. This is a horse who blows a bit hot and cold, but often runs very well at Hereford. 2 course of distance wins on the CV would testify that. And I think this horse, who's now on a very workable mark, is more than capable of getting involved in the business end of proceedings here. So that's Imac Wood for the Deborah Cole team. James Bowen booked to ride, incidentally, in that encounter. And over in Ireland, Fairyhouse on Tuesday. Sandor Clegane runs in the 143. This is a horse for the Paul Nolan team who's threatened to be brilliant. Never quite lived up to the early potential shown. I think that'd be perfectly fair to say. Of course, this horse was placed Grade 1 company as a novice hurdler at the Cheltenham Festival. Hasn't quite kicked on, but into calmer waters here. And I think Sandor Clegane in the 143 at Fairyhouse has a big chance. Now, look, I mentioned my fancies for the week. I'm going to be talking you through those. What are yours? Make some notes. Get involved in the comments in below. Let us know what you think. Who are the standout performers over the course of the next 7 days? So, got Tuesday done and dusted. Move on to Wednesday. It's just one horse I'm really keeping my eyes on Wednesday, and that will be the Ben Pauling trained mare Diva Luna, who's due to make a chase debut at Bangor on D on a Wednesday afternoon. Look, she's a classy type, of course. She was placed in the Mare's Novice Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival. Ben Pauling has gone on record to say he still doesn't think he's got to the bottom of her. He thinks she's open to plenty of improvement. She's a very smart mare. She's definitely one to take note of going over fences this season. And I don't think she'll be inconvenienced by a bit of cut in the ground either. So Diva Luna on Wednesday afternoon at Bangor on D. One I'm looking forward to. What do you think? Is she a mare you think will live up to the potential of that she showed last season over the large obstacles? Or do you think perhaps she isn't a natural for fences? Let us know. Let us know what you think. We're going to move forward to Thursday. Market Rasen. We've got Sandscape here for the Henry Daly team. Now, this is a yard who've been very much on the cold list in recent times. And they've gone a long time without winner. But they've been back in much better form. They fired in a couple of winners a couple of days ago. And a lot of their string are running really well. I thought Sandscape, who was runner-up at this venue last time out, was more than capable of going one place better here. I didn't think on paper this was much more of a race than the one in which Sandscape was in last time out. So potentially easier assignment, yard in much better form, and 302 there. Sandscape is one that's made it into the notebooks for this week's edition of the Quigley 7. And then the following race on the card, 337, Jamie Snowden has Marquise, who she showed some smart bumper form. It's just been a bit hit and miss in recent times, and to be honest with you, a bit more miss than hit. However, I think she needed the run at Ludlow on ground that was probably a bit lively for her. A bit of cut in the ground with that run under her belt. Should see her do a lot better, I thought, here today in this assignment. So, yep, Marquise in the 337. Another one to take note of on Thursday at Market Rasen. We move on to the Friday, and that's when all things get going at Prestbury Park. What are your best selections for Cheltenham over the course of 3 days? Let us know in the comments below. I'm fascinated by this Schlur chase at 255. Look, we don't really know who's going to line up yet. One would imagine John Bon will take his chance. Look, he's won this for the last 2 years, so I don't buy the argument he doesn't like Cheltenham. It's probably more of a case, does John Bon bring his very best to Cheltenham? I'd probably say no on balance. That would dovetail with last year's performance, where he beat the 158 rated Boot Hill by a length and a half. You'd argue on a track like Sandown or Ascot, he perhaps maybe would win by a bit more. So on official ratings, he has loads in hand. So I think he could be a bit vulnerable at a short price. And of course, you can check out all the odds on 7bet's website. Of course, please do gamble responsibly. But if Dan Skelton has his string in cracking form at the moment, decides to take him on with Low Du Sud, I don't think he's a dud. There's a horse with very good course form, ran really well in the Herakles last year. And I think he could be the one to take advantage if John Bon doesn't fire on all cylinders up the Cheltenham Hill at 2:55 on Friday afternoon. I mentioned the Skeltons, so they are in red hot form at the moment. And in the following race in 3:30, Great Fleet comes back to 2 miles 5 furlongs. Ran a really good race at the October meeting over 3 miles, where perhaps the old petrol light just came on up the Cheltenham Hill and didn't quite get home after being very keen throughout the early exchanges of the race. So I think less emphasis on stamina coming down in distance. That really suits from a visual perspective. I do think Great Fleet for an in-form yard would go into that 3:30 with really solid claims. So that's Friday done and dusted. I'm Team Skelton on that afternoon, no disguising that. We come on to the big day on Saturday. Of course, the big one is at 2:20. Perhaps a bit of a substandard renewal this year. I don't think that's being churlish. We don't have, or at least to my eyes anyway, the type of horse who's going to springboard from this to perhaps Grade 1 glory at the Cheltenham Festival. There doesn't appear to be an exotic dancer or an imperial commander in it, or even a long run who ran in this off top weight or protectorate. I think it's a good quality competitive handicap, but it's probably absent of a few stars. No strong views at this stage, but I would be with Conyers Hill for the Nolan team. This horse decides to run from towards the bottom of the weights. This horse ran very well at the Cheltenham Festival over the minimum trip in the Grand Annual back in March. Stayed on pretty nicely. Wasn't beaten all that far at the line in context after when you looked at 2 fences from home, you thought the horse was going to fall out the back of the television. So I think Conyers Hill up to 2.5 miles. They've been and ahhing whether the horse wants the trip. I thought in his comeback run recently over 2-3 gave every indication that 2.5 would be on the radar. So Conyers Hill is in my notebooks for the big one at 2:20, as is a July Flower in the Herakles trial, which comes up the race before at 1:45. Henry de Bromhead, fascinating insight from him, saying he thinks perhaps he's got this mare's triple wrong. And he thinks he's going to test the waters here, back over 2. He thinks perhaps he saw her as a stayer last season. And judging by the way she won last time out, she showed plenty of speed. So perhaps a confliction in what they thought there in terms of plans moving further forward. But they're going to find out once and for all. She's coming back to 2 miles. I think if we do get some rain, she looked a good jumper last time out, didn't she? I think the combination of 2 miles and soft ground could be absolutely ideal for her in the 1:45. So yeah, keep your eyes on July Flower. Maybe heading into the winter, but I think July Flower could blossom in the Herakles trial at 1:45. So that's Saturday done and dusted. Of course, let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out all 7bet's latest odds and the welcome sports betting offer. Of course, please do gamble responsibly. Now, moving on to the Sunday, the finale of the Quigley 7. Bit of a murky picture. Looking at the Greatwood hurdle, that looks an absolute muddle. I do not have a clue what's going on there. Stick to the plan. I gather he's not going to run, who's one of the early anti-post market leaders for this. So stick to the plan in not making the gig. This has got a real wide open feel to it, which it should do, I suppose, as a handicap hurdle. Let us know your thoughts. Am I missing an obvious one here? Alexi may run on the back of that impressive win last time out. Probably wouldn't want the ground too soft. A lot of tricky puzzles involved in regards to that race. So one I'm happy to sit on the fence with for now. The one horse jumping off the page at me in regards to Sunday is in the 3:30 in the race for the stayers. Staying a handicap chase over the extended 3 miles and 3 furlongs. And that is Herakles Westwood for the Warren Greatrex team. This is a horse who won't mind any rain that arrives, and a horse who is laden with stamina. Will gallop and stay all day. I think this horse could have a lot more to offer this season. Looking further afield, a race like the Welsh National on December the 27th could be tailor-made for Herakles Westwood. But Warren Greatrex has made no secret about thinking there's more to come from this horse. He doesn't take a lot to get fit. And I think Herakles Westwood, one to keep in your notebooks, in the 3:30 at Cheltenham on Sunday. You have been watching the Quigley 7. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, don't forget to check out all the latest odds, news and offers on the 7Bet website. Don't forget to scan that barcode as well for the Welcome Sports betting offer. Whatever you do, please do gamble responsibly. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.